Welcome to the third installment of the Confident Senior series. My name's Jill Hart, and for those of you that don't know me, I am a seniors real estate specialist and certified senior advisor. I help seniors move to a better life. That move can be literal, like selling a home and moving, or symbolic through educational programs like this, moving to make positive changes while they remain in their home. So today's topic is preparing to stay put. And the reason I decided this would be a good topic is because a lot of the seniors that I talk to plan to stay put in their home. They don't want to move. They want to stay where they've been for 10, 15, 20, 30 years. And they don't have any intention of moving. And it works great for some people. For others, there's some physical limitations that make it nearly impossible to stay. So, how can you plan to increase your chances of being able to remain in your current home? So, that is what we're going to talk about today. Sheila O'Connor is here to talk with us. She's a super special guest. She is the founder of No Place Like Home and has decades of hands on occupational therapy experience. And she's applied all that knowledge that she's gained over the years to her business. She specializes in creating living environments that promote wellness, functionality, and independence for all ages. So these spaces can continue to evolve with you and your unique lifestyle. So I'm sure that Sheila is going to have some great tips for us today. I'm super excited to welcome Sheila today. I'm going to just turn the program over to her.
Thank you, Jill. Thank you, and welcome everybody. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen now and start my slides here. So as Jill said, I am the owner of No Place Like Home, and I do consulting for people that are looking at remodeling their home or even looking at building a home that they want to be sure they take into consideration a lot of factors and factors in terms of what might happen, what are the possibilities. Some people live like my own parents way into their 90s in their home, and they neither of them were ever in a wheelchair, but we did make plans for them like a stair glide and some things like that just to have in place in case they would need, and they did end up using those kinds of things. So we're just trying to think of every scenario, and I've got in mind that you folks, a lot of you do want to stay where you are. That's our goal. So that's what we're going to be talking about here. And here's what Jill had outlined that we were going to talk about. Are you prepared to stay for the long haul? Are you interested in learning strategies? And are you planning for life changes? Are you trying to think ahead of different scenarios? So I like to use this slide, the Peter Pan housing, because so many of us think that nothing's going to happen to us. We hear stories of people, even things breaking an ankle, something that's short term, but we think, well, that happens to other people, that won't happen to us, or more catastrophic kinds of things that's not going to happen to us. We're going to be able to stay where we are. So, and houses, unfortunately, weren't designed either for different types of scenarios. Most of our houses weren't designed for all the different types of people that are be coming and going. And I like you to think too of not only seniors, not only of ourselves, of people in this age group, baby boomers that I'm in also, but thinking in terms of people that would visit you, for instance, grandchildren, neighbors that might have young children, strollers, or think of people carrying 2 bags of groceries, or the woman like on the right, things that happen. I have a sister that broke her ankle and is really having a hard time in her house getting around. She knows it's short term, which is great, but it was like it was kind of a wake up moment for her too of things she hadn't really considered. And then the good design considerations we talk about are some of these front porches you see in the top two pictures that are the zero step entry. And it's thinking in terms of being proactive versus reactive, where then you've got to add a ramp and something to help you get into the house. But it doesn't have to be the front door. Like right now, if you're sitting there thinking, oh, great, there are 3 steps up to my front door or more, think about your garage entry. Maybe there are fewer steps there to get into the house that could be adapted if need be. There's many cases where we're able to put in just a simple ramp into the house from the garage. Or is there a side entrance or back entrance that could be an accessible entrance? So again, the good design considerations are the stepless entrance and then level, clear space inside and out and a wide entry door width. At least 36 inches is really great. Here's a simple, like low cost adaptation that can be made easily, and that is these lever door handles. As many of you probably have experienced, and it just every time it happens to me, I think I love these lever door handles. And you can think of it times where you're heading out the door or heading in the door with arms full of things, packages, groceries, your purse, your whatever, and it's hard to be able to maneuver to turn a handle is difficult. But you could just use your elbow or use a part of your body to just open that door. It makes it much easier. So that's a consideration too of just an easy thing to help you open doors. And this other picture is showing to just the wide angle peephole. And that's just to keep in mind, not only for children that might be visiting, but also if you were in a position where you had to be, say, in a wheelchair or seated for a while, even if it was a short-term situation, but you'd want to be able to see out your door of who's at your door. And this is a great one. And this would be more if you were building or looking at that option where we have stackable closets. And that way they could be converted into an elevator if you were in a situation where you really did need to get downstairs or upstairs. Say a situation where all the bedrooms are upstairs, there wasn't really an option to put a bedroom, convert a living room or a room into a bedroom on the first floor. Or if there was no full bathroom on the first floor, then this is a great thing to have stackable closets. And as we all know, kitchen, let's move into that room now, the heart of the home. But the things you want to consider there are just space. Like, is there room, for instance, to be able to turn around if you were picturing yourself in a walker, and can you turn and shift in a wheelchair if you were in one short term or longer term? Or can you turn and open the dishwasher, get things out of it, open the microwave? And that's a factor to consider. Where is your microwave? Is it typically like they are above the stove? And that's fine for now, but it'd be something to consider because that could be easily added to a countertop if you needed it to be more accessible for you. And these are other good design considerations, just in terms of the multi-generational living that, of course, in COVID right now we don't have. But on the other hand, there are families where a family has moved back in. I have several friends I can think of where they're just because of issues with jobs and so on, the kids had moved back in with the parents, the adult children, some had grandchildren that moved back in. So looking and thinking in terms of space and various heights too, thinking of different work heights. So not only could a child help work at a table, but if you were in a situation where you had to be in a seated position, could you still sit at a countertop or at a table in your kitchen and make a salad, maybe cut up vegetables, prepare things from a different height? And these are some nice features too. Just talking about the whole idea of easy to reach thing, easy to reach, and that faucet too is a touch faucet. That could be another easy adaptation. Granted, you have to have a plumber come in, but it's easy to be able to reach and just like touch the faucet versus if you were like say in a seated position where you couldn't reach all the way back there to turn on the water if it was a traditional faucet or lever in the back of the sink. but that touch faucet would be a lot closer. And that other picture is just showing that panel that can also be installed where you can have all your phones and iPads and everything able to be charged at an easy to reach base on a countertop. It's just a strip that's attached there. Other features in a kitchen, just showing a lot of different adaptations of baking heights at various levels so that you could, say, work at a cutting board. Or that's a good one for if you were moving something, say, from a microwave. If you look at the picture that's in the middle, the lower middle picture, that's what that's for. If you're transitioning something that's hot to a space on one of those shelves till you could get it, say, to the table or to another space. And these pots and pans drawers, I know I have those. They're great for a lower level access to heavy pots and pans. And then we're looking at here, just again, thinking about space, the pullouts, the floor clearance. Is there room to turn easily? Thinking in terms of walkers and space for or two people in that space. That shows that pull-out spice rack in the lower left or condiment rack. And then the one on the right, this shows a kitchen that was redone to have the microwave more accessible and the drawers there more accessible. And it shows it also has it's cut out on the bottom, and you can see that better on the top left picture of just 4-foot placement for someone that was in a wheelchair that just has they're more able to pull up closely and have their feet under that space. Bathrooms, as we know, moving on to bathrooms, they are a real challenge. And there's lots of things to consider in a bathroom, as you all know. But if you look at that picture on the right, where everything is kind of in the same color of that white or the light color, light floor tile, light countertops, light cabinets, what you want to consider in that, if you were in the process of looking at redoing a bathroom, is high contrast. Macular degeneration is a problem, eyesight issues with glaucoma. There's lots of different things that can happen to in vision. And it's just helpful to have a high contrast countertop with the floor so you can easily tell when you're at the edge of your countertop. And the same with the tub and the floor, just thinking in terms of contrasting colors versus an all white bath, which are popular, I know. And this is just showing an example here where you have a 0 entry shower, curbless shower, and then you also have space to come out of the shower and or to be able to get on and off the toilet. But it's a shared floor space that gives the whole room more room for maneuverability. A couple more things nowadays that are lower budget things and redoing a whole bathroom, but there's the touchless flush on the toilet. And I know you probably all know about the comfort height toilets that are at least 17 inches, 18 inches off the ground. And those are much easier to get up and down from. And if you were redoing a bathroom, one thing to consider is this outlet behind the toilet that allows you then the option to have, a bidet that could be, there's ones now that you may have seen that can just be put onto a normal toilet. They have them now where you don't have to redo the whole toilet to have the bidet, but there's also some that have a nice LED light at night, like a blue light that's just real faint. But if you're getting up in the night, you don't have to turn on lights, and you can find your way easily to the toilet in the bathroom and be aware then of trip hazards and all that, of course. But it helps you see without turning on all the lights. And this is showing too a wall-mounted commode with a bidet built in, but that's another option if you were totally redoing your bathroom. This is showing too a couple bathrooms that were redone with knee clearance so that someone could sit underneath it, and the electrical outlets too, just making sure there's plenty of electrical outlets around for all the different appliances, the hair dryers, the toothbrushes, the things that we use in the bathroom. But so they're easy to reach. They're not like way in the back or in a difficult down too low, so on. And cabinet hardware, even this is something if you're a simple thing, if you're looking at your kitchen, for instance, or a bathroom, we really strongly recommend the ones down here on the lower right. They're called like a D handle the hardware for kitchens and bathrooms, and they're easy to grasp and pull out. You don't get your clothes caught on the edges or things caught like you could in the upper left, where there are edges that stand out from where they're mounted onto the cabinet. So just something to keep in mind too. Cabinet hardware that just makes it easy to open. So moving on into the shower, curbless showers are great. You see that picture there of just a no step entry. That's great. If you're looking at changing out a tub into a shower, just be thinking of that. And you'll see the difference there on the bottom right, that high contrast cabinet with the countertop. It makes it easy. The one on the left is that all white that's so popular again, as I said, all the light color. And the top right shows that trenchless drain too, that linear drain. That's really great. So then your floor is flat and you don't have the risk of a curved drain. This one's showing to something to do for your bathrooms, to be proactive. And this is blocking that you put behind the walls. The bottom right shows, like, let's say you are in the process of changing out your tub for a shower, and talk to your contractor about the term blocking, that you would like to have blocking behind the walls, so that in the future, if you did have to have a grab bar installed, the walls are reinforced and they're ready, so that a grab bar could be installed anywhere you needed it. Right now, it's often difficult if they're going to put a grab bar in, a, like a prefab shower, prefab tub shower that a lot of people have, to know really what's behind those walls. So they are able to do it blocking ahead of time. That's great, because you can say anywhere you need one, on the outside going in, in the front of the shower to hold on the side. That's really great if you can have blocking done as a proactive measure. This is showing again that tone on tone is not as helpful as a high contrast. So looking at that, the difference between a darker countertop if the floor is light, so you can just see where the edge of the countertop is. It's not all going to blend into the same color. And then that bottom left one too is showing you a great stepless entry there into a shower. Now, the thermostat controls, and that's another thing that's not so expensive to do. And they're great for a number of reasons, but you just want to be sure they're at eye level for you. Oftentimes, contractors will mount these things at a height that's good for them. And for a lot of us, it might be too high, especially if we want to think in terms of all the options. At some point, if we were to be needing some kind of wheelchair, some kind of assistive device to get around, could you easily be able to adjust the temperature and see the thermostat? So the eye level height is important, and the contrast too with the background. So being able to easily see what is happening. And now I love to do the tour of homes when they have that. Again, with COVID, we didn't have it at all in 2020, but just to see what's new and on the market. And so many of the homes now have a really big kind of a command central with all their thermostat controls and the smart homes, ways to lock the doors from different locations, ways to control the heat, the lights, and so on. So that's really a great option if you weren't able to go up and down the stairs and so on, that you could control a lot of that locking doors from that thermostat control. So I want you all to be thinking now in terms of your own home and what proactive steps you might be able to take to stay where you are. I know Jill and I were talking, and she's chatted with many of you, and that you are wanting to stay where you are, and that's not unusual. And AARP did a big study, and it was very high percentage of people, I want to say 85 to 90%, that want to stay where they live. And it makes perfect sense. It's your community, your neighbors, and where you've lived. It's close to perhaps the grocery store, the church, the things that are so important. So thinking now in terms of your home and your situation, I want you to think about what simple things you could do to be able to stay put. All right. And I am here and open to any questions And Jill, I'll turn it back over to you.
Confident.
Yes.
Anybody have some comments on things they've done in their house maybe that have been helpful?
I've already changed out the commodes to the comfort height.
Very good, Moya. Very good. And that's made a big difference, I'm sure, right? Just
Yeah, I had hip surgery a few years ago, and even with the toilet seat riser, it was still hard to get up and down. And
yeah.
I don't know with the regular ones how people would even manage.
hmm
It's okay if you're short, I guess, but
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
yeah, I
So
actually had to use a walk around the house, so I got some experience of that as to what worked and what didn't.
That is a good wake up call right then to just see
Yeah,
how easy it is to get through doorways and open your front door and get in the house.
Good morning. I was thinking about refrigerators because I would like to have a refrigerator. My daughter has a refrigerator with the freezer drawer that opens on the bottom, which
Uh-huh.
I think is super. But then I was thinking about your comments and thinking maybe I should probably keep what I have because then I can reach into the refrigerator better. What's your thoughts on that?
Thanks, Gail. That's a good question. And I assume what you have now is perhaps the dual doors that open. Is that what you have, or what do you have?
No, I just have one door.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I think what I recommend is the dual doors that open, because then you've got the freezer like you can easily access items over here on the freezer side or on your refrigerated side.
Okay.
So I think that's great, but like the traditional one, the good thing about that refrigerator door, which is so big that you can open that wide, if you were in a walker to get up close, it's great if you're at a walker height, standing height, to get things out of the freezer too. But that's the only thing. If you were ever to be then in a wheelchair, you couldn't really reach, except depending, there's reachers and things like that. If you had it in your freezer where you had just certain items that you would use, you couldn't pack it deep, but
Sure.
but if you had things like that you froze that you were going to be using right away, maybe chicken, beef, things like that, your proteins and things that you could get with a reacher and grab. It'd be
Okay.
hard to get ice out unless you had trays, but there's a lot of problem solving that can be done too. I know I those ones are really nice with the big freezer. Though if people do that, then I recommend the lower freezer, but then the French doors that open on top, so at least you can still access things.
Okay, thanks.
Yes, good question.
so I had a comment about the microwaves. Um,
Mhm.
we have our microwave is under our countertop. And the reason for that is when my kids were younger, I had read something about, so this isn't just for seniors, but it's for younger kids too. When you have the microwave over your stove, a couple of things can happen. When it's over your stove, if you're taking something out and it's hot, there's a higher likelihood that it will drop because, you put your hands back, and then it will fall on your stove top,
Mhm.
which is dangerous. And then just falling on your stove top, so if you have an electric flat top cooktop, that's problematic. You could break your stove. If it's gas, that could be a fire hazard. So we moved our microwave down under the counter early, just to kind of help with that.
That's right. Those are really good points. And it also and that reminds me too of another good thing too. If you're looking at replacing a stove or the one you have now, the range, having the controls in the front are really good for all those same reasons. So you're not reaching across to turn off the stove, or so many of them have all the controls in the back along the wall. I mean the back side, and then you run the risk too of a burn hazard with with a gas stove with burners or things being hot or just having difficulty reaching it if you were in a seated position.
Right.
But yeah, that's really good about the microwave too. That's more for good reasons, because you're right. It's just and it gets more difficult as we age to reach way above our head like that and bring something down,
Mhm.
let alone hot. Yeah.
Anyone else have questions for Sheila? Okay, well, I just want to remind you guys of the upcoming workshops that we've got. Next month is going to be a local market update. I've had a lot of questions about what's going on. I'm sure you've heard how hot the market is. So if you're interested in knowing exactly how hot it is and what that means for you, come on the 7th. It'll be at 9:30 on Zoom. I'll send the link out in the next newsletter. And then May 5th is home ownership in retirement. So again, Wednesday at 9:30 from 9:30 to 10. And with that, of course, you all know me. If I can help you or anyone you know, let me know. Appreciate all of you attending today. I hope you found this information that Sheila gave us helpful. And I want to thank Sheila again for taking the time to come and share her knowledge with us.
Thanks, Jill. It was my pleasure.
Yep.
Nice to see you all, and I hope it was helpful.
Thank you very much.
All right.
You're welcome, Moya.
You guys have a great day. Thanks.
Thank you.
You
Bye.
too.